In this video, let's understand how you can easily set up advanced KnowBot rules. But before that, please make sure that you have already created a KnowBot for which you want to set up the rules. Before you go to rules and set up the rules for your KnowBot, it's important that you go to reply material and create the responses that you want to send to customers for your triggers. And after that, you can come to the routing part and set up the routing. Now, when you go to reply material, you can add the responses. Talking about triggers, two common triggers are when the customer wants to speak to a human or the nobot detects that the customer wants to speak to a human. For that, you can add a response here and save the changes. Similarly, for a scenario when the nobot does not have an answer to customer's query, you can add a response for that. After you have added the responses for your triggers, you can go to routing. After the responses are sent out from Nobot's end, you can assign the conversation to any of your other team or a team member. To assign it to a team member, you can go to assign user and add the team member. After that, you can select the user and save the changes. Similarly, you can assign to other teams as well. You can name the material here and select the team. After that, you can save the changes. Now that your responses as well as the routing part is done, it's time that you go to rules and set up the rules for your NoBot. You can click on create rules and from here you can select the triggers. There are two types of triggers here. For the trigger when the NoBot is unable to answer a query, you can set up rules for that. You can name your rule here. And now for the when part, it's going to be the same as it is. For the filter, you can click on the NoBot that you created, which is product management cohort 2. And after that, for the action that you want to perform, you can click on send NoBot message. And in the message type, you can click on text. And after that, you can select the message that you created for this trigger. Now, whenever the NoBot would not be able to answer the query from the knowledge base that you provided, it will send an automatic response that you saved for this trigger in the reply material. Now you can save the changes. Similarly, if you want to set up rules for a situation when the customer wants to speak to a human or the NoBot detects that the customer wants to speak to a human, you can click on that and now name your rule here. After this, you can set up the rules. For the when part, it's going to be the same as it is. And for the filter, you can click on the NoBot that you created. After that, for the action that you want to perform, you can click on route chat. And now under the routing part, you can click on to agent or to team. So in case of to agent, the chat would be automatically routed to a team member that you saved in the routing section. And if you click on team, the chat would be routed to a team. Let's say you want to route the chat to any of your other team member, then you can click on to agent and after that you can select the agent that you saved in the routing part. And now it's time that you select the response that you created for this trigger. After the filter part is done, you can save the changes. Now, if the scenario arises where the NoBot detects that the customer wants to speak to a human or the customer says that they want to speak to a human, this NoBot will be automatically routed to the selected agent here. Now, anytime a customer sends a message with the keyword that you saved in the keyword action part, the NoBot will start answering all the questions that the customer is asking about. It will use all the information from the knowledge base and automatically answer all the questions which the customer is asking for. In case if the customer wants to speak to a human, it will reply with the message that you saved in the reply material part.